Our trip to the Caribbean started like many others, at the airport. You see some funny stuff at airports, like a grown man blowing bubbles in the departure lounge. How did he even smuggle them past security? And what sort of person drops $300 into a vending machine? Though if people see the attraction of eating raw fish in the bowels of Penn Station, I guess everything has its market. Still, this was nothing compared to the madness that awaited us on the island. Despite only a short flight from New York, I did regret not bringing any in-flight entertainment. Instead, making do with a radio show about a sport I had no prior knowledge of. Even Egon from Ghostbusters brought some paperwork to catch up on. Speaking of ghoulish characters, this guy was enjoying his first flight experience. Funny out that kids are still playing the same games I played at their age, and their TV still doesn't make much sense. But nothing would for the next 5 days. People in the Caribbean are celebrated for being chilled, taking it easy, but after a 3-hour wait at security, that charm begins to wear thin. On our first night, we were full of questions, but in short supply of answers.
Do you reckon we might have come out of season? In any car, why is there ever more than one magic tree air freshener?
Just fucking open up your window. What's the best restaurant here of all of them? Where would you eat?
And who was that guy we picked up and drove round all night?
Child, some know me as brother.
We spent 5 days on the island of Antigua. Each day followed a strict set of principles. Well, just 2 actually. Pancakes on the veranda for breakfast, and then exploring the island, mainly just for beaches and food. And then repeat. Despite the #1 recommendation in the guidebook being to sit underneath a flight path, there's actually loads of cool stuff to do in Antigua. Like Stingray City. It makes for an ideal honeymoon activity, a team bonding session, or even just brief respite from the island. Also have a butcher's at Antigua's colonial past. It's been preserved in its architecture, like Nelson's Dockyard, the oldest working dockyard in the world, and not forgetting its aristocratic sailing community. But it's fair to say, its links to the empire aren't always as dignified.
Reminds me of my old school bus, actually.
Walking around during the day, with one broken leg in tow, it felt like we were alone on the island for most of the time. Though we were actually sharing the island with a load of rowers who had just completed a 3,000-mile race across the Atlantic from the Canary Islands. Rowers could be at sea for as long as 90 days. Man, I thought my trip here was bad. By nightfall, the island began to take on a whole new image.
Yeah, I swear there's a lot more boats out there tonight than there was yesterday.
There are way more boats.
Places and people began to look unrecognisable from their daytime form. The nights were less consistent, each making less sense than the last. The only constant being the gin and tonics on the veranda, and the soca tunes that would Shazam throughout the day. The conduit between the late afternoon haze and the early evening pick-me-up. Head into town, the English harbour, for beers and barbecue. Then, soak up some cultural appropriation at Abracadabras. Make new friends at the Rasta Shack. And top it off with a rave up at one of the many roadside grills. Reserve Sunday evenings for sunsets at Shirley Heights, a more structured part of Antigua's nightlife. For some, however, the onslaught of madness sets in way before the cover of darkness. Make no mistake, Antigua in the day and Antigua in the night are 2 separate things. One is paradise found, the other paradise lost. Just be careful not to get caught in the crossroads.